Good morning, viewers around the world. Good morning. You're welcome. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you are. This is a beautiful day outside. Welcome to SFM All Africa. My name is McCarthy. I'm sitting in for our friend and coordinator, Dr. Shegun, because he's on another assignment today. So today we are bringing you our news update. We're bringing you all the occurrences happening. Joining me to do that are my coordinators from different parts of the world. Right there in Toronto, Canada, is George. Sir George, you are welcome
Thank you.
to our broadcast. How are you, Sir George?
Thank you so very much, Mark Godwin. It's such a pleasure being here. And viewers from
Sir
around
George,
the world,
can you
I
hear me?
welcome you to our show today.
Good. Also, far away in Lagos, Nigeria, is the woman that brings all the updates for us. Lady Nana, you're welcome to
Thank you,
us
Massive
today.
Man, for having. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me once again. Sir George, good morning. Our viewers all around the world, thanks for joining us again today. Let's do it like always.
Thank you very much. Morning, the Wednesday, 4th of October. Today, go further in quest.
I can hardly hear you, Massive Mark.
Can you hear me?
Cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little better.
Okay, sorry for that.
Okay.
These glitches happen. I'm welcoming you to the program, and I'm also saying there are some small news flash headlines from the papers today. Before we go into the main discussion, this morning, Tinubu has written to the Senate and is seeking confirmation of three more ministerial nominees. And by evening today, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio will be going through the confirmation, and they will be screening those ministerial nominees. That's right there in Nigeria. Also in Nigeria, the All Progressive Congress yesterday has come hard on PDP Abubakar Atiku over his quest to obtain Bola Ahmed Tinubu's academic record from the Chicago State University. There is a strong warning to Atiku Abubakar, but Atiku Abubakar is still going on today. Midday today, we might be seeing the authenticated documents coming out from the Chicago University that has been given to Abubakar's legal team. Right there, also in Nigeria today, is a very sad thing that has happened in a part of Nigeria, the south of Nigeria, Port Harcourt. There was an explosion that claimed so many lives at an illegal oil refinery in a community called Ibia community, and investigation has gone into why such an explosion and the number of deaths that they've experienced. Also, there in Nigeria, yesterday or thereabouts, I think it was yesterday, in a town called Benue, Makurdi in Benue State, a church, Dunamis International Gospel Center, located right there in the heart of the city, collapsed, killing the pastor, Pastor Ezekiel Ahmed, and some of his worshippers that were with him for some service. It was gathered that there are 4 people that were killed, and we're still following that situation. Also, right there in Nigeria, Lagos, yesterday, angry youth right now presently are burning facilities at the Solo Local Government Development Council following the death of 2 people that was involved in a scuffle between officials of Lagos State Management Authority. They call Last Man. And the last man drove a driver into a corner and thereby killing 2 people. So the youths are angry. The youths are burning. They say some facilities have been burnt down out of their anger protest, and this is what we're seeing in Nigeria this morning. So it is news echoes global Africa, and most of our news satellite is on Nigeria. And this morning we have a lot to discuss, gentlemen. Before we go on, what will you say about the few newspaper headlines, Sir George? What do you have from all these newspaper headlines?
Well, Nigeria is moving on,
Yeah.
and we are here to report what is going on. So basically, about the youths, that are burning things and destroying things, it is very, very unfortunate that that would be the case. But I guess questions need to be asked. The two that were killed, what was the purpose of that, and why did they happen? And unfortunately for the church that that the building fell upon the pastors and a few others, it's just very sad news. We just pray that God will strengthen and comfort the family members of those. It's just sad when such a thing happened in a church building. So it's very sad.
Very sad indeed. Thank you very much. Didi, what's your take on some of those news headlines? The last man situation in Isolo, Agor, Okota area, the church collapse and killing the pastor, all Progressive Party antagonizing Atiku Abubakar over his request to see the president's documents from the university and the ministerial nominee that is being sent in today. What are your thoughts on those issues?
First, let me start with the church. The church, it shows that our regulation body in Nigeria is not working. So what happens in Nigeria is that if you know anybody and you give them the tips, they allow you to do your things anyhow. So collapsing of building is a thing that is known with we here in Nigeria. So that one apart. Now in River State, over 30 people have died for that phenomenon that happened in River State. It shows you one thing, that it's actually poverty. In everything, what happened there, you see poverty. It's only poverty that will make a Nigerian not minding what happens to his or her life. Do you understand? As far as he or she will get something to ease off the tension or the hunger of that moment. That is why you see people, it happens there's no month we don't hear such stories in Nigeria. It's very common. And the Nigerian government are not even bothered to do anything to stop this. Once somebody has thrown away his or her life away, just because he wants to get a bread to quench his or her hunger, that is poverty. It shows you how the level of poverty in this part of the world. That one apart. Now, what happened in Solo? Last man dragging steering. That man was actually dragging steering with a driver, and he ended up killing over 4 people as of yesterday. Other people are still in critical condition. It's still that same thing we have. The kind of organizations we bring up in Nigeria is organization we use in intimidating people, humiliating people. An organization like LASMA is not supposed to be a profit-oriented organization, but that is what they've turned to. Now, normally, if you feel that somebody has jumped, what LASMA is meant to do, someone who has come on air to say it, that the duty of LASMA is to correct traffic. Then if you still feel that somebody has done anything, get the person's phone car plate number and come back and report. Leave it. But this last man, they've apprehended me once. You know what? What's one of them saying? You don't know the kind of pressure we get from office. They give us targets. Do you understand? Now you're giving these people targets, and they come into the road, and their target is to make money from people. And let me tell you here on air that these last people, they belong to a different organization where some of them, they do contribution of 10,000 naira, 5,000 naira daily. And you see these people, they are on salary, payroll, that they get the money for a month. Now they are doing contribution where they contribute 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira daily. Where are they expecting to get that money from? From motorists, and you must bring it. And that's what has led to this thing. And now, say the annoying part of it, a last man killed somebody. Police came and beating people. Do you understand? Instead of them to try to make peace, now police came and beating, using tear gas on people. You saw
Hmm.
lifeless bodies on the ground. And what you could do is to start attacking people. That's not fair. I'm telling you, the way they treat Nigeria in this part of the world is not fair. This thing happen every time. Now, what I'm telling you, just hold on and see how the government will come to television and lie and try to cover up their mess. It is not fair. It is not fair. It shows that the lives of Nigerians is worth nothing. So that is there another thing? I think I've mentioned three. Is there another thing to
Yes,
talk about?
no, no. What you're what
President,
you're even talking about is very critical, Sir
the pres,
George.
the pres,
It is very, very critical.
Yes,
It,
yes.
you
Um,
know, what you have just said, given a complete detailed analysis of what took place in that country, which is an ongoing saga all over the
yes,
place, is
exactly.
just so deplorable and unacceptable internationally. Because, okay, number one is the root cause of this corruption is the pressure that is being put on these last men that are out there. Because when they have been mandated to bring bribe up. So, who knows how many layers they have to, take care of. So they're putting pressure on these people on the road. And because of that pressure, these people have to, work hard in order to get money from people. And that's possibly what caused the death of these people. This is so unacceptable. Maybe simply because of, you know, um, when things like this happen, nobody will tell the truth. People will come and lie. I don't understand what kind of government that we have been, you know, the kind of government that is actually perpetuating their stupidity in Nigeria is
No,
so
normally, thank you to Sir George. BD, very, very, very important issue you're raising up, and I think it's good we dive into it a little. Normally, what they do is I don't know the plate number of cars, vehicles are for this reason. So you don't need to trace a person, hold the steering with him, and wrestle the steering because you're trying to arrest him. All you do, what they do in most countries, not even advanced country, I mean, most countries in Africa too, is take that number that has faulted on the traffic, take the plate number, have a shot of it, and after you send the tax, the penalty, the offense, whatever, to that address, to that number. That's all. It makes it easy. It's simple. It's even stress-free for them, last man. It makes their work easy to do. But when they now come
the
and
problem,
we see that,
massive man. The problem
yes,
is most of these vehicles are they registered to an address that is identifiable? Because
okay,
and they don't have a collaborative system whereby they take all this number and they put it together. To them, is what we get today is what we're going to give today. So whatever they're so desperate to the
now,
point where anybody that escapes permanently, because who is going to go? What system do you have to
to
start checking those plate numbers that ran away, and if the addresses are
but but
correct?
but BD, is it not better than this wrestling with the driver on the steering and killing people? Every time we see this, we've
It's
seen many
true.
videos.
It is.
In fact, we've
It
seen
is.
some last man officers hang on the bonnet of a
see, let
car.
me tell you people.
Mhm. Go ahead.
See, Lagos State have that system. They have it. Lagos State government, they have that system where they have a database that every car in Lagos is in that database. They have your phone number. They can trace you anywhere. I'm telling you now, let me tell you, there was a day I was driving in area that is not totally not my area. I was stopped by my plate number and they just checked their phone and they told me my crime. Now, what the Lagos
Hmm.
State government have it, they wait for you when you want to come to renew your papers. You will not renew without paying all those things. They have it. But because they have given them a target, because they have given them a target and they must meet that target. You see those last now misbehaving. The major thing is this. And that is why crime is much in Nigeria. There are some parastatals, there are some organizations in Nigeria that are not supposed to be profit oriented, but because of our greed and our corruption nature, we have made such organization profit oriented organizations. So that they go out of their way to do what they are not supposed to do. One of them is something like this last man. LASMA is not supposed to be a profit organization company. But you hear them at the end of the year, they will give you a report of how profit, the kind of profit they make. Of what? And that is why you see them impound vehicles unnecessarily. And they will impound someone's vehicle today, next tomorrow they are auctioning it. Because they are profit organization. They are not supposed to be a profit-oriented organization. That is where all this thing comes from. They have that platform. They have it. But because they want to make money, they'll be pursuing people on the road, killing innocent Nigerians.
It's good.
By the way, before we continue, such violation is part of what the government uses to bring in revenues. So is the profit oriented type you're talking about is personal pockets. But as for that, yes, the government's supposed to be making money from people that are violating, traffic rules and all that type of stuff. So, but when it comes to people now, the last man stopping people and taking bribe for them, that is a violation of what they are supposed to be. As for the profit-oriented situation, yeah, the government is supposed to raise revenue from violators. That is the proper thing to do.
No, Sir George, I might agree with you a little here. I might disagree with you a little here. Now, see the case I'm making. Yes, the government's supposed to make profit, but it's not every organization that government make profit from. But when you're focused,
I'm talking about revenue. If you violate, you're supposed to get, like for instance, they will charge you and you're supposed to go and pay. So government raises revenue. What I'm saying is that what I disagree with is what you're saying when they take bribe from you because they want to take care of their orga on top. So that is
the way they make those revenue.
BD, understand what George is trying to say. There's a difference between government revenue arrangements. That is the fine you pay for defaulting in a traffic law and all that. But in this case, you have also said the Oga gives them a timeline and a plan to bring in some amount of money for the Oga, not the government own, because the government own is the registered one, the one that goes into.
I understand very well. Very well.
We understand you. Let's go for that.
Wait, I want to say, making a revenue, it's good, and it's different from making a profit. You understand? They are supposed yes, when they charge people who default, they make a revenue. But when your focus is in making profit, and that is when they will give them targets. And that target is what has pushed them into this thing they are doing in Nigeria today.
Thank you very much.
There's another thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, sorry. Let's move on to
it's another topic. It's another topic. I've not talked about that one. The saga of the presidency.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Massive.
Yes, it's okay. Let's go ahead. Thank you very much, BD. But it's good we put those things into light. Your viewers are tuned in to News Echo Global Africa this beautiful 4th of October. Yes, gentlemen, we want to go further into some of the main discussion. And like you all know, the Tinubu identity saga still continues. We are following the situation. In fact, today, Wednesday, the 4th, is the day the document have been handed over to Atiku's lawyers. So we are expecting that the Atiku's legal team will release the document to the public. So the CSU has released the document to Atiku on Monday. And we learned that Atiku lawyers are currently studying the document they've obtained from the university, and they will probably make it open, authentically open. So, but on top of that, we had this morning that AAPC politicians are coming hard on PDP and Abubakar Atiku. So, gentlemen, I don't know what you have from your corner. Sir George, what's this whole thing? This saga continues. Tinubu's certificate saga?
In the saga, let me tell you something here. I don't know. I personally think that this is a road that leads to nowhere, if you ask me.
Okay.
Okay, why do I say that? Yes, indeed, we know that there are some insidious things that took place with Ahmed Tinubu's identity. Whether he went to jail before, changed his name to go start going to school in the United States of America, all these little things that are coming up, and whether it was a female that actually was registered in school or whether he changed his name, all these things, we know that there is a violation in the certificate that was given to the INEC. But the question we need to ask ourselves is this: where would this lead to? Yes, indeed, we already authenticate from everything that we are seeing today. We know something went wrong. We know there is a clear violation of what he did. But would that unseat Tinubu today? Because look at APC coming against Atiku Abubakar. Why are they coming against him? No, because if you know the image of Nigerians, look at the international news. They're basically talking about how fraudulent our president is. So now the question is, if when we have discovered that what he did was Oluwale, okay, would that unseat him? What is he going to bring? More negative image on the international platform? It is already bad as it is, but it continues to go. But my question is, if we're pursuing something like this, and then all the truth comes out, will that make Ahmed Tinubu to step down? I
Okay,
doubt
thank you
it
very
very
much.
seriously.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sir George. Tinubu previously claimed to have lost his original certificate. Like you can see on the screen, that's the one that has been made available. Some people somehow got that. And he presented a replacement for that his certificate to the INEC, to the Independent National Electoral Commission for the presidential election. BD, we know that INEC has, Nigerian constitution has on the electoral election requirements. It has it stated there that forged document is an offense. Now, we've now realized that what Tinubu presented to INEC was a forged document. How do you see this? What could be the outcome? What could INEC do? What could the law do? George says, will this unseat Tinubu? All of these things. So, what do you say, BD?
I totally agree with Dr. Sir George, because at the end, what are we going to benefit or achieve from this? Is obviously nothing, because the APC government have decided to take Nigeria by force. Now, what you just said, the Nigerian constitution, electoral constitution, frowns against surgery, and that is 1999 constitution. The 2022 constitution said that the only person who can challenge the results is the party member who have the original copy. Before you say that this result is false, you have to present the original copy. Do you understand? And that is the move Atiku Abubakar is making. Now, I have issue with Chicago State University, because some of these Western country, they come out, they preach for peace, they preach for unity, they preach for calmness, but they are actually the problem of the world. The Chicago University come out to tell us that they can't find Bola Ahmed Tinubu's results. Who does that? Who says that? Even as small as I am with my company, from the first day my company was registered, everything is still there. Do you understand? And they come to tell us that they can't find it. Now, the result already have indicted our president, because that result was issued to a woman. Do you understand? The CSU of that result was issued to a woman in that is not even a man, in 1976. And now, former governor aspirant of PDP, Babatunde Badamasi, came out to say that when Tinubu claimed that he attended the Lagos State Government College, that Lagos College was not have not even started.
Hmm.
That him as a person witnessed the first graduation of that state, and that him was in class with a Tinubu first son. So is Tinubu trying to tell him that he's 3 years older than him? Do you understand? So Nigerians have seen all these things. That's why I said I still stand with what Sir George said. After finding out all these things, after disgracing ourselves internationally, and we're still going around spending the little money we have, saying we are looking for investors.
Investors.
Who send investor will come to Nigeria to invest when they know that we don't have law?
Hmm.
So
When they know we don't have law. Sir George, it's a very, very tight situation. Um,
Everything about this government, the foundation is completely in a royal mess.
hmm.
And there is absolutely nothing anybody can do about it. Because when the foundation is faulted, everything that you build on top of it is going to be like that. So the question now, like you said before, I mean, from the primary school to the secondary school to the university, I mean, there is no clear answers that you can authenticate and say this is it. So I mean, this is the state of our affairs in our country. It is
This is
very
the state
bad
of
and very unacceptable.
this is the state of affairs in our country. To our viewers listening, watching, a little synopsis of what is going on from what we are gathering here in the newsroom is that there's a lady that was the Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I think that lady passed away. And this Tinubu, this man now, took her papers, her credentials, her everything, and made it his. So this is the bone of contention. So it's a woman that was that person, but he made it his because the mother, the so-called mother that adopted him, allowed him to use those documents also. It is that mother that adopted him that was mother to that real Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So it's all very funny. One thing we say here in the media house is um, such situations back in the days, if you have these things happening to a leader in the 60s, in the 50s, the 40s, years ago, that leader will probably just step down from shame and disgrace, you know. But in our case, it's even making the man sit tight more because some people are even supporting that all these are just some gang up against him, and they say you are still the one for us. So we are rubbing ourselves dirt in the public. Already, we've messed up ourselves in the international scene. Our leader, our so-called president, is a man of strange identity. Nobody really know who he is, but some people feel that's what it is. You know, those people that have interest in the whole arrangement. So, but we're still watching. Sir George, are we not still watching? BD, we're still following up, and mhm.
of course, watching, and like Sir George said, what will we watch out of it? Still the same thing. Because say, let me tell you, like you said, Tinubu as a person and the people around him are power drunk. And they don't care. They can kill off all the Nigerians as long as they have that power. So what are we going to watch out of it? I'm still
They can
wondering.
kill off all the Nigerians as long as they have that power. Thank you, BD. Viewers will be going on a short break. And when we come back, we are talking NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress. We are talking minimum wage for the average Nigerian. And we are talking a better life for the citizens of that great country called Nigeria.
to serve our Father. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain, to serve with heart and might one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know.
This country has some of the most extraordinary culinary diversity in the world. I'm talking about Nigeria. This first dish is amala abula, made popular by the Yoruba people in southwest Nigeria. It starts with amala made from dried yam and then is covered in a variety of soups. Next we have ofe and sala, a white soup that is synonymous with the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria. It goes best with fufu, or akbo as the Igbos call it. Next we have suya, the most well-known food of the Hausa and Fulani people of northern Nigeria. Meat is covered in a peanut-based powder called yaji and cooked over an open fire. This is banga and starch, a classic of the Urhobo people of Delta State. Lastly, we have onunu, a plantain-based swallow of the Izon people in south-south Nigeria. We are eating it with fisherman's soup, popular throughout this whole region. And of course, we don't forget the jollof rice. This is popular everywhere in Nigeria. I think what makes Nigeria so great is the diversity of all the different people coming together. These beautiful ethnic groups living side by side, sharing culture and cuisine is what makes Nigeria such an amazing country to visit. Nigerians should be so proud of that cultural heritage, as there is so much more that unites than divides them.
You're welcome back to News Echoes Global Africa, this 4th day of October 2023. Yes, we're giving updates, we're giving news occurrences as it's happening around the world and as it affects us, Nigerians, Africans in the diaspora and also around the globe. With my panelists, my co-coordinators from different parts of the world, George, BD, yesterday, the Nigerian Labour Congress shelved its plan to go on a strike, and they want to continue with the meeting with the federal government. Now they are saying the new minimum wage that will be negotiated is they are looking at 100,000 naira to 200,000 naira. Considering the fact that when you convert this money, 100,000 naira, for example, when you convert to dollar, that's about $80. And it's still not enough for a minimum wage. But anyway, Nigerian Labour Congress says the new minimum wage might be negotiated so that it will be pairing with the rising cost of living. The rising cost of living. George, what will you say before we come to BD that will give us on ground situation? What will you say is, 100,000 to 200,000 naira minimum wage, is that still reasonable? Can the federal government also sustain it? Can they live?
The question is the joke called NLC. It is becoming like a joke, honestly speaking. It is becoming like it's just a juvenile hogwash, if you ask me. Today they go in there and they negotiate, they threaten, they say this, they say that, they come out, police rolling through the back door, and they just raise up their hands and say, we give up, we cancel this. Look, you see, let the truth be told. There is a controlling factor here when you really think about it. Because NLC is coming out as if they are representing the people, but there is some power toggle going on behind the closed doors. And I can guarantee you that if we look into all of this, there are some, I'm alleging it because I don't have the complete and absolute proof of it, but I believe that some kind of remuneration is being given at the back of the door for them to come out with all the threats. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about 100,000 to 200,000. And he goes on channels TV, we mention all of this. How is it go? It's just almost like, Atiku Abubakar in the United States, fighting all over, spending money on this certificate. At the end of the day, it amounts to nothing. The man is sitting pretty, in Aso Rock. I don't know if he's gone there already, but this is exactly what we're talking about. Who are they really representing? Because when they make all the noise that they are making, the TUC, the NLC, at the end of the day, negotiations are being, are going behind closed doors, and people are suffering. Now, indeed, if you're going to increase the minimum wage to 100 to 200,000, is it the federal government workers are going to be getting it? What about the people on the streets? What about those that have, maybe they have a little saving that they have put, and because of the inflation, the value of the naira has already, went to nothing. What about those people? What about the hotel workers? Are their minimum wage going to be increased to 100 to 200,000? Who is going to pay that? What about the
people that are working? Thank you, George. George, you're bringing very strong sides to this discussion. One thing is, I studied with the NLC. NLC has 4 other bodies under it. You talked of the TUC, the trade union body. There is also 3 more, and I found out that there's so much bureaucracy, so much maneuvering with all these 4 organizations that sits under NLC. Now, the problem there again is these other arms of it don't really know what they represent. So we find ourselves in a very topsy-turvy situation with our labor organization. PD, George has thrown some light. How do you see this? Will 100 to 200,000 naira be worthy for an average worker in Nigeria? And can the government live up to this, even when it's negotiated? Can they pay this till thy kingdom come? I mean, to infinity, or one day they will come back again and bring it down? What do you say, BD? You are on ground. Give us the practical situation of this whole thing.
Massiva, even if you are on your sleep and you are a Nigerian worker and they tell you their APC government is paying you 200,000 naira minimum wage, won't you wake up from that sleep? Certainly you will do. The truth is this: the NLC, they say when a salt loses its ingredients, it became saltless. NLC have lost its potency in Nigeria. The truth about NLC, the Nigerian people, more especially Nigerian youth, should understand that nobody speaks for them. And this is time they will rise and speak for themselves. Because when we were small, NLC used to be the body that get things fixed in Nigeria, but it's no longer what it is. If you check this Joe Ajero-led NLC, which is the one that is being recognized by federal government, since the President Tinubu assumed office, it has been time to go for a strike, ultimatum. Who does that? You know what they do? Like Sajab said, they will go to the federal government and they will give them different Ghana must go, and they will agree on certain things and they will go home. and that is it. Now they're supposed to this strike that's supposed to start on 3rd of October has
Super.
been on since August. Since August, that is since they've been given time ultimatum. They're supposed to start indefinite strike about what Nigerians are going through. What did they do? They went in there. There was an agreement. They are going to pay Nigerian federal government workers 35,000 naira for 6 months. There's an agreement that they agreed with federal government. They are going to be paying Nigerian government federal workers 35,000 naira for 6 months to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. Now, let me tell you, in Nigeria, we have only 13% of Nigerians who are in government workers who are on salary. 88.8 Nigerians are not on salary. 88.8% Nigerians are not on salary. The only people who are on government salary are 13%. Now you have agreed on 13% Nigerians. So what happened to others? Do you understand? So it's obvious and clear that Joe Ajero-led NLC are not speaking for Nigerians, they are not representing Nigerians. Now they'll come to tell us that they are on top for the Nigerian government to pay 100,000 or 200 naira minimum wage. Having in mind that such will never be possible if NAS did not assign it. Do you understand?
Not assign it.
If NAS did not assign it. Now, the kind of NAS we have in Nigeria are the kind of NAS who want Nigerians to be praying while they are spending the money. You and I know that they can't sign that 100 or 200,000 into law because before it becomes a law, it must be signed by a National Assembly. And National Assembly are not going to sign that.
Yes, thank you very much. It must be signed by the National Assembly must agree and sign to that new minimum wage.
Yes. And his co will be collecting that 5,000 naira for the next 6 months. And you and I are Nigeria, nothing for us. So you call that NLC. That's not NLC. They're not speaking for us, they're speaking for themselves.
But that 35,000 was a suggestion by the president because it was originally 25,000 naira. Then the president came out and said, okay, 35,000. And none of these are just, it's not concretized. It is just a suggestion.
They've agreed on it.
On the 35,000. Are you sure?
Yesterday. Yeah. They agreed on the 35,000 naira. And it's only few that collecting the federal government workers, which is under the 13%. 8% of Nigerians are not on federal government worker payroll.
Yes, normally when the federal constitutes its own package, a minimum wage arrangement, the states now follow suit and come up with their own. Then the local government and everybody, then parastatals and private companies all begin to work also on having an adjustment, whether to increase or decrease, an adjustment on the minimum wage of their workers. So one thing we know is Nigeria is not our financial fiscal plan is scattered. You know, we've not really had people that sit down to look into our fiscal plan and arrange things in a way that will benefit the masses. Everything is scattered. Everybody does things in his own interest, what interests him at that point in time. So we don't have this long-term goal. We don't see ahead. We don't see the future. We just plan, plan, and you will go through. Anyway, thank you, Sir George. Thank you, BD. You guys have made that on. Very good one.
Can I ask a question, BD?
Very good, George. Go ahead.
If, let's say hypothetically, that this was, they go through the process and they increase the minimum wage to 100 to 200,000. Mm-hmm. What if when the inflation goes down, are they going to change it, reverse it again, or is it going to remain at that stage? Because this is a question that needs to be asked.
Yes, that's a question, and I think I know some viewers might want to ask that.
That is exactly.
Go ahead, BD.
No, finish what you're saying.
Okay, it stays. You don't bring it down again. It stays. So that's why you have to check all the indices. There has to be thorough checking of every index and everything that makes up that money to stay, because you can't pay people 100,000 and you say, now there's inflation, now we have to go back to no. That worsens situations even. So that's why there has to be calculated study, calculate everything has to be done. That's why we talked of the fiscal planners of Nigeria being intelligent enough to understand how to follow through on economic planning. It's a strategy you have to imbibe, and that strategy you have to really know what you're doing. It's not something you just play around with. So that's a very good question, George. Go ahead, BD.
Sir George, that was why I said that they've not even started this negotiation of 100 and 200,000. They just agreed on the 35,000 naira, which they will start paying them this month. And it's few that are going to collect that money. That's why I said that this 100,000 and 200,000 cannot be implemented if National Assembly did not agree to it. And now, let me tell you, if there is 100,000 or 200,000 minimum wage in Nigeria, there's going to be a strong inflation in Nigeria. Because if we really want this 100,000 and 200,000 naira to take place and we want it to work and for an average Nigerian to benefit it, there are certain things we need to take care of before we can increase the minimum wage too. If we don't take care of those things and increase the minimum wage, there's going to be a serious inflation in Nigerian markets. That's just the truth.
So like in the Senate, there is a financial committee, like you all know. Now that financial committee should be comprising of people that understand financial workings. So it is that financial committee that sits and look into it when it comes to the Senate and gives an approval or says no or yes. So, but we hope they understand what this whole basic things we are saying here. What we're saying here is wonderful, George and BD, because we're putting to light things they don't put to light too.
We're happy. Can I bring up a different thing from what you just said now?
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Can I bring this thing you talked about, some parts in Senate that are of financial who will look into it and suggest. One of those suggestions is the suggestion the Taiwo Yedele, the chairman of presidential fiscal policy and tax reform committee that President Tinubu just appointed. And do you know the kind of suggestion he's making to Nigeria? He's making to Nigeria that Nigerian refineries should not be repaired. It should be sold out. So that's where I stop, so I don't take much of our time. Because of what you said.
Yes, we're going to come to that refinery issue next in our next topic, because yesterday I was sent some videos on how the reconstruction of the Port Harcourt refinery. Remember, the federal government has promised Nigerians that by December that refinery will be working. So I think the issue of refinery should be dealt with, and I'm happy you guys have oversight on all of this. So you're viewing, viewers around the world, you're viewing the SSM News Echo Global Africa, and you see what we're doing here, giving great insight into situations happening in Nigeria. Today, the 4th of October, far away from Nigeria in the United States, Sir George, close to you, behind you there, the US Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, was ousted. It's a funny one. The next step is uncertain. Nobody knows what will happen. There are no obvious successor to lead the House for now. The speaker was ousted, and the speaker position in America is like the second in command from the presidency.
Third in command.
Third in command. Sorry. And this is what we have. Republican Kevin McCarthy, the 55th Speaker of the House of Representatives, was booted out of his office, and we've never seen anything like this happen before. So no speaker in that position has been ousted in the U.S. history. It's very, very undignified. It's very, we don't know what to say. But George, what will you say from that corner? You are there.
Well, the Republican Party is actually, it's kind of good, because of what's happening there. It makes us look a little better, because of the chaos in Nigeria. if you ask me, because these superpowers that we look up to, if they have such a tussle in their own government, then that kind of makes what we do in Nigeria a little better. So, but anyway, it's just a bunch of about 8 people. They're like the Tea Party of the past, and these are what they call the Togri eight of the Republican Party that are hijacking everything. So, and they brought about, and then what actually happened was Kevin McCarthy gave them all this power. And this power that he gave them is what is bringing him, because when he negotiated with them, there was a rule in the House for many years until the former House Speaker removed it. The lady from, I think it's California, what's her name again? She was the one that removed that rule, where one individual can raise up, can actually oust you by calling up for the House to sit and vote against you. So Kevin McCarthy was agreed with that rule, and that's the rule that is taking him out right now. But the problem is that they did not think that it was going to succeed, because they were banking, because Kevin McCarthy kind of bent over backwards to agree with work to Democrats, to sign that bill that is causing this problem right now. This window of about several weeks for the government to remain open rather than shutting it down. So what is happening is that this young man, I forgot his name. What's his name again? The one that brought about the bill, to vote against Kevin McCarthy. Is it McBeal or something like that? I forgot his name. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so now they removed him, but they did not think it was going to happen, because they didn't think that Democrats were going to side with the Republicans to remove Kevin McCarthy. And that's what is they are in a state of wondering right now to find a replacement. But the possibility that a replacement might be way far right, worse than Kevin McCarthy, that will become a very, very serious issue in the United States government. So that's where we are right now.
That's where we are right now. Thank you, George. You're there. Please keep monitoring that situation for us. We'll have more updates by Friday. BD, is it not interesting to see that there's rule of law in America, at least? People, you fault, they bounce you out. Nigeria, senators, House of Rep, do whatever they like. I mean, now we're dealing with our presidency upon all these big things, all are flying around him. He's still seated and he's still there. BD, how do you see it when you hear such people with heavy power being ousted? What's the hope for Nigeria?
Do I even have hope? I don't have hope for Nigeria. You know why? Because when you try to correct the wrong here, what Nigerians will be quick to tell you that these people were where we were some times ago. Now, but in life generally, people make mistakes so that other people will not make mistakes. If you keep making mistakes because other people make mistakes, then you remain a failure for life. And that is what I'm seeing in Nigeria. A reasonable or sensible people copy at people's mistakes so that they don't make mistakes. But if we in Nigeria or in Africa keep making mistakes with this mindset that, Nigeria, America, UK, China, India, we are once where we are. Do you understand? It means we are not getting out anytime soon. And I wonder when it will be. And the way they remove McCarthy and the way they are going it, you can't try that in Nigeria. I'm telling you, you can't try it. Even if they don't come to you with media, they'll come to you physically. You see, what we have to see doing in this part of the world, we are building monarchies. That's what we build. Do you understand? We're building monarchies. We're building emperors. Emperors, that's what we're building. And it is our fault. It's the fault of Nigerians. I don't blame those leaders. I blame the Nigerians.
Okay, BD, thank you. Because of time, there were other issues to also deliberate on, but we might not have that time till Friday. Tunisia's president rejects EU's financial aid. There was a financial aid that was to come to Tunisia, but the president had rejected it. Big money. And he said it's not what they promised that they are giving. Also, Niger is going through a mourning season now, national mourning after suspected jihadists killed about 29 of his soldiers. And we know what Niger is going through at the moment with the Bizum situation, the coup, and everything. So, but to wrap it up, BD, please, just 1 minute. We had, as at this early morning, that the case of the young musician called Mubad, Ireoluwa Aloba. We had the major person in that whole case has been taken into custody for interrogation. That's another artist called Naira Mali. Can you just give us in 1 minute a small insight to what's happening on that?
Yeah,
Naira Mali.
Naira Marley is in Nigeria, and Nigerian police source told us that he's under their custody. Before he gets into Nigeria, he had already been treated. He said he's coming to contributing to the investigation of who killed Mohbad. It's funny how things go about in Nigeria. So he's back. Nigerian government, they didn't arrest him. They say he is in their custody. Now, the truth is this: there's not they're not going to do him anything. They're not even going to find him guilty as long as he's Nigerian. It's happening in Nigeria. Because let me tell you, I said it here the other time and somebody called me name. Naira Marley works for our president. He works for Sowolu, governor of Lagos State. And apart from that, this thing is gang, is what they call gang of Lagos. They belong to gang. So nothing is going to happen to him. They are not going to find him guilty. If you see
Thank
if
you
you
very
see check the narrative that is happening on social media, they are trying to move this from Naira Marley to Mohbad's wife. Do you understand? So nothing is going
much.
to
Okay,
happen to him.
we'll say more of this on Friday. George, I know you're into entertainment there in Canada. What do you see in all of this? Few seconds, George. What do you see?
Well, the young man said that when he gets back to Nigeria, that he will submit to the law, which is what he did. So whether he's going to take the path of the way things happen in Nigeria, like BBC or not, we are watching. But
We are
I
watching.
think it's not going to amount to anything. It will go the same way everything else goes in
We'll go the
Nigeria.
same way everything else goes. Gentlemen, lady, Sir George from Canada, BD from Lagos. I want to thank you all for joining this day, the 4th of October, to give updates on what's happening. Thank you all. Thank you, viewers, for watching SSM News Echo Global Africa. We'll be back again on Friday, and we are watching what's happening on. Keep your radar on too. Keep yourself abreast with new situation. Even the Bible says, watch and pray. So let's keep ourselves abreast so that we don't fall, we don't get caught up unaware. So on this note, I want to say thank you for joining our broadcast. See you on Friday. And until then, it's bye-bye. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.